Hello there, and welcome to Eunice. Eunice is the only company in the entire world that does just two things. The first is to find your life purpose, and the second is to find your personal style. And you can think of it as being like your life is like a boat. Your destination is your purpose, and your personal style is how you go along on the boat, how you roll, if you like. And we've done a whole series on the 12 major religions. We've covered the 12 major religions, and this is really the conclusion of all that work, where we've covered the religions, we've looked at their core beliefs, we've also looked at whether or not they help with purpose. So this is basically a wrap up, and it's based primarily on a book by Jason Boyett called The World's 12 Religions, which is a very impartial, factual kind of view on all of those different religions. And at the start of the book, he makes a really good metaphor, and I think it's worth sharing with you. So we're going to summarize whether they believe in God, what the feeling is about the afterlife, their view of moral code and moral behavior. But before we do that, here's the metaphor. So he says that 12 blind men were in a room and asked to, and there was an elephant in the room, and they were asked to feel the elephant and say what its purpose was, to say what it was. And of course, everybody felt a different bit of the elephant. So some felt the feet, some felt the trunk, some felt the thighs, and as a result, they all have a very different point of view on what an elephant was. And the point Jason's making is that we're born into normally a particular cultural context. We're normally born into, a way of thinking. In the West, we're typically born into Christianity. If we're in the Arab lands, we're typically born into the Muslim faith. If we're born in Israel, we're typically born into, obviously, the Jewish faith. And so I think that he makes a really good point, which is that, we don't actually know very much about other religions for the most part. And therefore, it's quite hard for us to kind of make judgments about them because we simply don't know. We don't know what they say. We don't know what's good. We don't know what's bad. So often our belief is kind of blind, which is why he talks about the blind man. So we at Eunice agree with that. We've done this work, and we've done a lot of work looking at the 12 major religions. That's really helped our context. And what we wanted to do was to try and understand how the religions helped you with purpose. So let's just kind of think about them, just summarize them. I guess the first point is, on the surface, there is very little agreement among the 12 major religions, at least on the surface. Certainly, when it comes to important questions like which religions believe in one God or what do they believe, the religions that believe in one God are Christianity, Judaism, Sikhism, the Baha'i faith, Islam, and Zoroastrianism. So half of them do, but a lot of them don't. Half of them don't. So Taoism believes it's a kind of life force, and we're just kind of with it. It's nothing to do with God. It's just a force that exists in nature. Hindus have many, many gods. Jains believe in divine beings, and Confucianism and Shintoists don't believe in a god at all, and neither does Buddhism. So on the surface, there's a lot to argue about there. It's like, is there reincarnation? Is there afterlife? That's the next question. And of course, it's very different again. Heaven and hell exist unequivocally for Christians, for Islam, for Zoroastrianism, which is very clear about it, and the Baha'i faith. For those four religions, absolutely there is heaven and hell, but for many others there isn't. So Buddhism, Sikhism, and Jainism, are all faiths that believe in reincarnation. Judaism sort of believes in an afterlife, but most commentators say it's actually quite vague as to exactly what it is. And Shintoism, Taoism and Confucianism don't believe in the afterlife at all. So there are two fundamental things where there is little agreement. However, where there is agreement that is very comforting, we think, is that every single religion at some level has a moral code, has a code of ethics, and those ethics guide your behavior and create you as a good citizen. And that seems to be a really powerful and positive thing that is universal. Now, exactly how that is articulated is slightly different. I can't remember them all off the top of my head, but so I'll refer to my notes. But obviously, Judaism and Christianity believe in the 12 commandments. That's the foundation of what we're about. Islam has inbuilt charity into the faith, so that giving away money is absolutely part of what Islam is all about. The Buddhists have the three jewels and the Eightfold Path, and those things ensure that you good moral behavior and you are removed from suffering and make a contribution in the world. The Sikhs have 5 virtues and 5 thieves. So the idea being that you follow the virtues and not the thieves. The Jains similarly have 5 virtues. The Zoroastrians have very, very strong personal codes of behavior about not harming other people. Taoism is all about learning to be in harmony with nature. Baha'i is about world peace. And Shintoism is about harmony. Hinduism is about tolerance. So they all have very strong positive messages, which kind of goes back to the metaphor of the 12 elephants. Is any one of those actually wrong? Or are they actually all just different ways of singing one tune in harmony, just different expressions of spirituality? It's a contentious view, but it's what I invite you to consider. So our question was, which faiths give direct, unequivocal guidance about how to find your life purpose? And when it comes to direct guidance, none of the religions appear to give direct guidance. Those that are clearest give semi-direct guidance are the Baha'i faith, which very strongly says that actually doing the right sort of work brings you closer to God. And both Buddhists and Sikhs talk about right action and right work. Essentially, that's about finding the right occupation for you to contribute in the world. All the other religions, to our disappointment, to be honest, because we think we pick up some fantastic new tools and techniques. But all the other religions essentially say that if you live by the moral code and the conduct of the religion, you'll be a good citizen. Yeah, I'm sure you will be a good citizen, but will you be a citizen on purpose? Does living like that actually mean that you challenge yourself to find out what you should be about? Do you challenge yourself to go deeper? Or do you just go along with the flow? And if it's the latter, you might never actually give any thought to really actively what you want. So here's our invitation to you. No matter what faith you are, we respect it. We respect your faith, and we can see that every faith has enormous virtue. What we are unclear about is the fact that religion helps you find your life purpose. We haven't found that religions do that, and we believe they play a massive, important, informal, indirect role. But here's our invitation to you. You want to know your life purpose, if you want to get clear on it, and if you want to know your personal style, then we have a method and a means of ensuring that we will find that with you, which will incorporate, if you are religious, some spiritual practices to get you to meditate on your purpose and similar things. So whether you're an atheist or whether you embrace religion, we adopt the process for you. And that's it. So next time we're going to be covering the Finding Life Element by Ken Robinson, who was the most watched speaker on TED Talks ever. And he talks about how you can find your thing, and no matter whether you think you know what it is or not. What a promising message that is. Really lovely to have you here. Really lovely to talk to you. We will stop there, press pause, press end, and let you go.